Hi, I'm Caden, here with my brother,
Cal,
and you're listening to Eating W's.
eat the W.
That's a W. Let's eat one. Let's eat one. That's a W.
So, on today's episode of Eating W's, we have our Week 8 preview, and it should be a much more exciting week compared to last week.
I sure hope so. Last week was the average margin of victory for just Sunday, just counting Sunday's games, was 21 points, which is one of the highest in NFL history for a single week, and obviously the highest this year. So
It's impressive.
yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of blowouts last week. So, a quick update on our pick'em game before we get into the picks. I dropped 12 this week, putting me at 72, and Callan got 8 points, putting him at, I believe, 56, but I'll correct it on screen if I'm wrong on that. So, now, let's jump right into our
I
picks.
think it's 57.
No, it's an even number.
I had 49 last week, I thought.
I think it's 56, but I'll correct it on screen if it's...
I had 49 on my chart, so that's
Oh,
why
okay.
I thought it was 57 if I have 8 right.
Alright, yeah, I'll put it on the screen, whatever it
Yeah,
is.
but we'll double check that.
Alright, and then now we'll jump right into our games. So, first up, we have, well, both of our teams have a pretty big week this week.
Yes,
big
two
games.
Big games, two primetime big games.
Yep, so we'll talk about the Vikings a little later, but first up, we have the Thursday night game with the Packers at the Cardinals.
Yep.
And Callan, I'll, of course, let you start.
Very excited for this game. This will be a huge game for both teams. I mean, obviously, whoever wins, it's going to be probably looked at as the best team in the NFL. And even if whoever loses, it's still going to be up there with the top teams. This is going to be a really good game. Possible playoff preview at some point. The unfortunate news for Green Bay is that both Devontae Adams and Alan Lazard, unfortunately, as of Tuesday evening, are the only two receivers to have been positive for COVID. So they are both out. Unfortunately, there's still tomorrow and Thursday. There could be more players. Devontae was Monday, Lazard was today, so hopefully that's it. But otherwise, I think this Green Bay has a very good chance to win this game still, even without Devontae. Obviously, it did knock the confidence down a little bit when you lose the best wide receiver in the NFL. Sorry, JJ. But, we still got the best quarterback back there and one of the top running backs. So I still have pretty good faith in our team. The defense really stepped up last week against Washington, which is no pushover. Washington, even though, like we said, we're a young team, not quite as talented as Green Bay, I don't think they're bad.
No, not per se.
Not as bad as the Chiefs, even though they just lost to the Chiefs 31-13, but...
Not as bad as the Chiefs.
No. But, there's one player that I do think will have a big game with the lack of depth at receiver. We have a guy in our practice squad named Juwan Winfrey. He's a second-year undrafted guy out of Colorado. He played behind Laviska Shenault, a first-round pick down in Jacksonville, or a second-round pick, but a top receiver down in Jacksonville. And he played with Laviska Shenault at Colorado, went undrafted because obviously Shenault was the star there. But in training camp and preseason, he did not have a single drop. We were able to keep him on the practice squad, which I thought that we might either keep him on the active roster or, possibly lose him. We were able to keep him. And my only issue is that I don't know if he has quite the rapport with Rodgers. Obviously Rodgers missed a good portion of mini camps and some of the training camps, didn't play in any of the preseason games. So hopefully they can am I saying that right? Rapport?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay. I always get that. I always want to say Rappaport. Like
Ian Rappaport.
Yeah.
No,
So
I think you got
I want
it.
to make sure I wasn't saying his name. But I think if they can build some rapport, I think Juwan Winfrey will have a very big game because no one will see it coming.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch this game too. As you mentioned, it's two total juggernauts in the NFC right now. It should be a hell of a game even if Devontae and those guys are out.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be super fun. The Cardinals' high-powered offense versus the kind of, as you mentioned, stepped up Packers defense. And
They're
then the
almost
Packers,
methodical. They're not really high-powered. They remind me of like a. They always call Triple H the cerebral assassin. That's what it feels like. Like they're not going to go out there and just pound you down.
But
they're going to beat you in a very methodical and diabolical way.
They're quietly going to put up a lot of points
right.
before you.
But it doesn't even
realize
seem like was it? They don't have those big plays like Tyreek going 70 yards or DK Metcalf going 80. but they have like 12 play drives for 70 yards and a touchdown. Or,
No. Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying.
8 plays for 6 minutes and a touchdown. You know,
It should be.
they
it
do
should
those,
Be,
and
it should
it's,
be a fun game to watch.
I like
I'm
that
excited.
better instead of just the big plays. If you get too dependent on the big plays, if you're it's like in baseball. If you're a home run team and you get cold, if you're not hitting home runs, then you're just, you're not getting on base. You're not getting any runs. If you're not hitting the big plays, you're not getting the yards. You're not getting touchdowns. This offense just methodically drives it downfield, gets first downs, and I like it. I think I didn't like it at first because I like the points, but I like how it functions a lot more smoother.
Yeah, I get what
Not
you're
so
saying.
many hiccups and droughts.
No, it's just gonna be a fun game to watch.
It is.
That's all I really have
Looking
to say
forward
about
to
it.
a lot.
You know?
This besides kickoff, this has been the game I've been most excited for this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, to start our Sunday slate of games, we got the Panthers and going to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Oh, and I forgot to mention on the last one, but Callan took the Packers. I took the Cardinals.
I can't not take the Packers.
Yeah. I just took them because with Devontae being out and that kind
I
of
see
stuff.
why. I thought about
got
it,
it.
but it's like, I can't go against my guys.
You got to go Cardinals. But as I just mentioned, for our first Sunday game, we got the Panthers heading to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. And this one, again, we are split. I have the Panthers and Callan has the Falcons.
Well, it depends which Sam Darnold shows up. If the Sam Darnold the first 3 weeks show up, the Panthers should win this pretty easily. Because the Falcons, I thought, were a rebuilding team. And I thought they were the first few weeks of the season also. And then it seems like both of them have switched. Now the Falcons are trying to win games. Sam Darnold looks like he's playing for the Jets again. They got Carolina calling Houston about Deshaun Watson. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Carolina's starting to tailspin, it seems like.
I agree, but I said it last episode, but I think if Darnold can just have one decent game, he can kind of get back on track. Of course, I could totally be wrong, but I think this is his chance to kind of come out and prove it. The big thing for me to watch, or in my opinion to watch in this game, is to see if the Panthers can stop that really growing, becoming powerful
Connection?
Falcons defense,
Oh.
or Falcons offense,
Yeah,
rather.
I thought you were talking
with,
about the connection.
with Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts from Matt
Ryan and Pitts have just hit it off
That
since
was
London.
a stutter of a sentence.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened
But
there. But they
I
also
get what
have,
you're trying to say. Yeah, that it's become such a dangerous connection in such a short time. It's like, whoa, how do we defend this?
definitely, and that's not even mentioning guys like Russell Gage at that wide receiver 2 position, and then guys like Cordero Patterson, Mike Davis sharing reps in the backfield. So that offense gets a little scary every week. It's scary to watch. But next up, we have the Titans heading to Indianapolis to take on the Colts, and Cal and I both have the Colts in this one. They just looked so good last week. I don't know how I couldn't pick them. They looked great against the Niners. They've been playing well. I know the Titans are a really tough opponent, but it's in Indianapolis. Frank Wright loves to step up for those divisional games. I just felt like I had to take the
This one's a
Colts.
pick 'em on the books, and I see why. Because how do you tell which team? I mean, Tennessee has looked dominant, but then they've also lost to the Jets, and Indianapolis looked really good last week in a game that I thought they had no business being in, and actually played their best game in a game that was in a goddamn monsoon. So
Literally.
I don't know. That's gonna be just an interesting one to watch because I see why it's a pick 'em. It's like, wow, it's really have no true leaning on who could win. But Colts are home, so I always say when you're flipping a coin, just go with the home
As I
team.
say, I know I say it a lot, but
Although I will
gotta
say,
love a good coin flip
right
game.
now, road teams have a winning record so far this season.
Bet that doesn't last.
But right,
As bodies get hurt and morale starts kind of getting lower in this
like-
mid-season
they're like
dip.
it's like
yeah.
50 and 42. I can't remember, but it's something like that. It's not that many games ahead.
Yeah, I
above
bet
500.
that
but
starts switching. But next up, we have the Miami Dolphins heading to Buffalo to take on the Bills. And I think we got a pretty obvious one here. Cal and I both have the Bills. The Dolphins are struggling. They just lost to the Falcons last week. The Bills have just been pretty well dominating, coming off of a bye week, so they have an extra week of preparation for this AFC East matchup.
even when Miami looks good, they still don't win. They
No.
just seem like a team that just has that tough luck this year. Just tough luck. The Chargers had it last year when they lost whatever it was, like 7
It was
games
so
by
many
less than
close
7
games,
points.
yeah.
They're the team that just finds new ways to lose a game. I mean, it's one of those deals. So maybe I think it's just the the Dolphins are just snake bitten this year for whatever reason. I think they're pretty talented. I really like Brian Flores as a coach. I thought the defense would be really good. The secondary has been a disappointment. They have no real pass rush, so I see why secondary could be struggling. They got a number of offensive weapons with Gesicki and Parker, and they got Will Fuller, Myles Gaskin, Waddle, so Salvon Ahmed. I mean, they have weapons. I think it's just one of those deals where there's a good team, just things aren't going their way, and now they got a powerhouse like Buffalo coming in, and that's really just not going to go their way.
And going to Buffalo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree. Miami was nearly a playoff team last year, and they've just really depleted themselves. I don't know what happened, but I think it's pretty easy to see that the Bills, we both have them in that one. Next up is another pretty obvious one. We got the Bengals heading to New York to take on the Zach Wilson-less Jets. Cal and I both have the Bengals, and I actually have the Bengals as my lock in this one. God, that offense looked so good last week. That defense has been playing surprisingly well for some of those guys they have in there. Of course, Jesse Bates has been for a while a total unsung hero on that defense and in the league in general. He's been balling out.
Hendrickson?
Trey Hendrickson's been playing well. Sam Hubbard had a huge last week on the other side of Hendrickson. Overall, that team's just so much better than I thought it was going to be, and a lot of people thought it was going to be. They've really impressed me so far. And the poor Jets, I can't do it.
The only thing is that the Bengals are obviously riding high right now. They're a top team. They're new to this, or not new, but they're new to it.
This has trap game feel.
Right. I feel like they might just get excited, be like, we're better than these guys. We don't even have to practice this week. So I could see that. I still pick the Bengals. I still think they'll win. They're a better team. Talent-wise, they're way better. And just the only thing I could see, the only reason I didn't make it my lock was just that, how are they going to do with those trap games?
It's got trap.
Because they got to learn. They were the
team getting
the
trap game.
Yeah, now they're the trap
yeah.
E. Is that what it is?
The trap B.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. The
trap
and
the
trap.
We'll see how they handle that.
Trapper and trap.
Mm-hmm.
Well, next up, we have the Steelers heading to Cleveland to take on the Browns, and of course, a very high anticipated game after the Browns taking the Steelers out of the playoffs last year, and just the Browns starting to become this better team in general than the Steelers. We're still pretty early in the week. I have no idea what the depth chart is looking like for the Browns.
For the Browns in general.
But man, we both have the Browns in this one. I took the Browns just because I think even in that weakened state, they're just a better team than the Steelers. I know I've been very anti-Steelers all year, and I'm going to keep going with that. Don't get me wrong, I like Ben Roethlisberger. He was a great quarterback, but it's just sad to see, but he's not anymore. He can't get it done.
Good now. He doesn't have the scrambling that he once did.
They've really been relying on Najee Harris, and he's stepped up. He's been great for them so far, but I just can't see the Browns dropping this game, even with injuries.
Yeah, Stefanski's a pretty good coach. I think that's coming to show up that I think the Browns finally got one right on this coaching thing. Took them about a decade or so, but they finally, I think, got one right here. Stefanski obviously led them against Denver with a completely defeated roster. Backup running back, backup quarterback, third string running back, injured receivers, and they look like the better team. Injured linebackers. They're not, was it Jedrick Willis or their other offensive tackle?
Both offensive tackles. I
knew the one was
Jedrick with an ankle and Conklin.
I
think also with an ankle, actually.
Conklin didn't play against Denver.
Oh, he didn't?
No. I know Conklin didn't play.
Jedrick Wills was questionable, but played.
But yeah, so hell of a coaching job. And if he keeps that up, the Browns will be all right. They're going to be doing pretty good.
Definitely.
Pittsburgh is...
Because towards the end of the year...
Up and down, too.
Towards the end of the year, they're going to start getting those guys back. And when playoff time rolls around...
no one's out for the season.
Healthy. Yeah.
They'll get them all back as of right now, so...
Yeah. Pittsburgh just looks questionable to say the least, yeah. So we both have the Browns in that one. Next up, we have the Eagles heading to Detroit to take on the Lions, and we both have the Lions. It's gotta happen this week.
I mean, this is the team for them right now. I thought they'd beat the Rams. I knew it would be tough. I didn't think it'd be easy. They definitely played a better game, and they probably should have won that game, really. On the paper, the Rams should have beaten by 50. On the field, the Lions probably actually should have won that game. So I think they should build off of that. I hate to say it, there's no good losses, no morale victories. But how can you not build off of that?
That's about the closest you can get to one.
I mean, that was a good performance. That special teams coach put through everything out there. So I think that they could build off this. The Eagles are reeling. Nobody really knows what to do in Philly, it seems like. Jalen Hurts, nobody knows what to do with him. Sirianni, no one's sure if he's a good coach, a bad coach, good play caller, an expertise play caller. Depends who you ask.
If you ask him, that's the only way you get an expertise answer is if you ask Nick Sirianni.
So I think that this is a perfect game for Detroit to get that victory and get on their roll in Detroit. I really think this is it. I almost made this one my lock just because I'm pretty confident this is the week.
I think for the fact that Dan Campbell is kind of jumping into this whole new world of being a head coach because he was never even a coordinator. I think the highest rank he held was tight ends coach.
No, he was the interim head coach for the Dolphins when they fired hired the guy that they fired before they hired Flores.
Oh, I did not even know that, actually.
So he does have a little bit of technical head coaching experience.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Only a couple games, but
still something though. But yeah, I think in Detroit we still got a Lions. Oh wow, I am struggling. I think in Detroit we still have a head coach that's learning the ropes still of being a head coach who doesn't really have much talent, but they have a lot of draft picks coming up. I know that's kind of looking towards the future, not this week,
right.
But I think Detroit might be scary in a few years. I've said it a few times. And as for this,
thought that it seems like every few years it's like, oh man, Detroit's gonna be good, and then they find a way to fuck it up. I don't know if they're gonna fuck it up this time.
I mean, odds are it's gonna happen.
Right.
Eventually,
I mean, it's like the Browns finally hitting it with Stefanski. Like, they were gonna get one right.
But as for this season and this week, even the Eagles are just two different teams. I can't warrant picking them. That's my only reason for not picking them anymore. So, moving on. Next up, we got a extremely obvious one. We got the Rams heading to Houston to take on the Texans. Don't care if it's in Houston. The Texans are struggling. This is going to be the first week with Tyrod back, so he's going to have to kind of have a week to get back into it.
And it's not even official. It's just that he will be back but they haven't said he's officially going to be back. But then when he does come back, he will be the starter.
But still, either way, it's going to be rookie Davis Mills coming off of a few bad weeks in a row, facing one of the best defenses in the league, or it's going to be Tyrod in his first week back. The Rams, of course, still have that godly offense with all those weapons.
And now
it's just the Rams in this one.
And now, so they had their trap game last week. They're going to be watching out for this one.
Yeah.
I would be stunned if Houston was able to pull this upset, just because with the way the Lions almost beat the Rams, I would not be too proud of that victory. I mean, they got some work to do to build off for last week. I mean, and Houston's a good team to get right. And I'm not saying that they were wrong, but the Rams kind of, got a little side sucker punch. What am I thinking of here? Can't think of the word.
Sucker punched?
Sucker punch maybe by the
By
Lions.
surprise?
Out of surprise. They didn't expect the Lions to put up that good of a fight. And
that'd be sucker punch.
Okay. So I just think that the Lions will get that the Rams will look at Houston and not fall into that trap again. Yeah.
No, but I have the Rams in this one, and Callan has the Rams as his lock. So next up, we have the 49ers heading to Chicago to take on the Bears, and Callan and I both have the Bears in this one, and I actually marked them as my upset this week. I know it's not a huge upset looking at spread-wise, but I think looking at team-wise, it's a pretty big upset, and I just don't really have any crazy upsets this week, so that's why I marked it as my upset. But the Bears are pretty inconsistent, but so are the Niners.
Yeah.
I think Fields is really going to break out one of these games and kind of establish himself as that starting NFL quarterback, and I could see it happening against this inconsistent, beat-up, low morale 49ers team.
Oh, yeah, Jimmy G looked like he didn't even want to be there on Monday night, or Sunday night. I don't know if that was because of the monsoon, or he just doesn't want to be in San Francisco anymore, but that worries me. When your quarterback starts to look uninterested and he's just chucking balls downfield, that's
not a good player to check out.
That's a spiral you don't want to start heading down. And Lance is hurt. He hurt his knee in that first game that he played. So already, because he's a running quarterback, that's usually what happens to him.
That's a sucky start. Yep, definitely. Yep, so we both have the Bears in that one. Next up, we have the Pats heading to LA to take on the Chargers, and we got a split in this one. I have the Chargers, and Callan has the Pats as his upset this week. I took the Chargers because they got absolutely smoked by the Ravens, and I think that was kind of like a little bit of like a wake-up call for them that we need to get it together, because they've been playing well this season, but they haven't been playing what they should be for the talent they have. I think coming off the bye week, having a big game against a pretty decent team in the Pats, I think they're really going to step up and pretty well beat them.
Yeah, Belichick has always owned the Chargers.
Oh, really?
From way back when the Chargers had like Phillip Rivers and LaDainian Tomlinson, they were the number 1 seed, and New England went in and upset them in San Diego, when they were still San Diego Chargers, as like the 5th seed. It was one of their Super Bowl victories. Yeah. So for whatever reason, Belichick has just always been able to beat the Chargers, and I'm going to keep on that train until the Chargers can show that they can beat Belichick.
Interesting. I did not know that. I did not have that in mind. Next up, we got the Jags at the Seahawks, and what's the opposite of game of the week? Because that's what this is.
The London game.
The London game,
this
exactly.
This is the London game
this
week.
It is not in London.
No,
it
but
is
it
in
should
Seattle,
be.
but it should definitely be the London game. Cal and I both had the Seahawks in this one. I think for the role he's had to, or I should say for the shoes he's had to step into and the role he has taken, I think Geno Smith eventually earns himself a win at some point, and this is just the perfect team to earn yourself a win against. I can see the Jags pulling off the little bit of an upset here. They got their first win and then went to a bye week, got an extra week to prepare for them. But overall, I just see the Seahawks winning this one.
Yeah, this is a battle between 2 national championship winning coaches, Pete Carroll and Urban Meyer. Oh, yeah. That's a little interesting there, tidbit. But yeah, you're right. I could see Jacksonville pulling the upset just because obviously Russ isn't there. If Geno plays like the Geno Smith of the New York Jets, definitely they could beat him. But I think that Geno's a lot more mature, a lot better, even game manager. He didn't even have a terrible game against New Orleans, just not a lot. I don't know. That game was just lousy, but it wasn't all his fault. It's not like he ruined the game. He just didn't have a huge game. And so as long as he just doesn't turn the ball over, I think they'll do all right. And Seattle has enough talent that they should beat Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's
They're
a big
just
one.
Too young and inexperienced. But like you said, if Geno's turning the ball over, they'll definitely give Jacksonville a chance.
Kind of a toss-up there in my head. Next up, we got the Bucks at the Saints, and Cal and I both have the Bucks because we decided that this is a down week for the Saints, I guess.
No, it's going to be an up week with an L.
Oh, yeah.
Because last week was a down week with a win. So this is an up week with an L.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back on track.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they're going to lose 2 in a row here coming up. Because they'll lose this one, and then they're going to lose next week.
Oh, yeah, because they're going to be back on a down week.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got this figured out. I got this down to a science now.
That's true, yep. Okay, but yeah.
So that's the emphasis on that one.
No. Yeah, pretty much. Saints are going to be, I don't know, whatever you said. I'm so lost. I don't know what my problem is today.
They're going to be on an up week, but with an L. So it's going to be like a 31-28 win.
Yeah, but the Bucks are just a good team overall. A lot of talent. They probably should be winning games a little more decisively than they have been this season for how much talent they have. I know they have some trouble in the secondary with injuries and young guys. But overall, I think they pick up one against the Saints. Next up, we have the Washington football team against the Denver Broncos in Denver. And again, it's probably going to be a pretty crappy game, not going to lie. Cal and I both have the football team in this one. I think Taylor Heineke and that offense has just enough firepower to take over that depleted Broncos defense. As Callan mentioned last episode, and I totally agree, the Broncos kind of seem checked out. I think that the football team picks up the win.
Yeah, not even just depleted, but demoralized. They just look like a team that's just, I don't know, it's kind of giving up on their head coach. The whole, they're not buying in. Injuries are taking over. They're losing their star guys. Chubb and Miller are both hurt. Judy was out. I don't know. I thought Denver was going to be a firepower of an offense and a team this year, especially after that 3-0 start, and the bottoms just fell out on them. And now it looks like they're just, in absolute purgatory of just being like, yeah, we don't really want to play for this guy anymore. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how I got the read of especially the Thursday game last week against Cleveland, because that was ripe for them to take for a victory for the taking.
Big time. Yeah.
They totally just dropped the ball. So yeah, I think Brett Favre Jr., Tyler Heineke will lead Washington there, because that guy just loves to play. I will say that the guy's got heart, just like Favre did. That
He
kid's
just
got
enjoys
heart.
playing 100%.
And that's what I saw playing him last week. That's what I saw. I was like, man, even though it was 24 to 7 or whatever, well, I can't remember what it was, 24-10. I was always like, let's just hit triple zeros. I just didn't want to let them stay in the game, you know.
No, that should definitely be an interesting game to watch, I guess. Next up, we have, of course, the matchup I'm most excited for, Sunday Night Football, with the Dallas Cowboys heading to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. And Cal and I both have the Vikings in this one, which kind of surprised me. I don't have a ton to say about this game other than just, man, am I excited to watch this game. This is our chance to really prove if we're playoff contenders. We went up there and played with the best of them, with teams like the Cardinals and Bengals, and just barely lost. But then we've also played some crappy teams like the Lions and probably should have lost. So this is really our chance to go against a good team, in my opinion. It'll be fun to see
Let's call them a talented team.
Talented team, very good point. It'll be fun to see for the second year in a row now CeeDee Lamb versus Justin Jefferson, because I was, of course, a huge CeeDee Lamb fan before we drafted Justin Jefferson. Dalvin Cook will be there. Dalvin Cook versus Zeke. It's just going to be a fun game to watch overall. I cannot wait. One thing that sucks, though, is Patrick Peterson was, of course, just put on IR before our bye week, so he'll still be gone for this game. But that just gives Cam Dantzler the chance to really prove himself after having a pretty bad start to the season. So keep an eye on Cam Dantzler.
Yeah, so I say talented team because I still refuse to buy Mike McCarthy as a good head coach. He was. I'm not saying I think he lost his touch with the game. The game outgrew him, you know? And obviously Dallas is just filled with talent. So I thought that he was obviously outcoached by Belichick in New England, but talent won that game because New England doesn't have a whole lot of talent right now. But they're still coached by one of the greatest coaches, and he outcoached McCarthy to the point where New England almost should have won that game, and they didn't.
Probably.
Yeah. So, and McCarthy has a losing record against Zimmer. And is this in the Dome?
Yes.
Correct? So,
well, U.S. Bank.
Yeah. I always call it the Dome, but it's from the Metrodome. So, McCarthy has never won at U.S. Bank. When he was with the Packers still was the times that Rodgers have lost. Yeah. Rodgers has only won in U.S. Bank with LaFleur as his coach.
Yep. When you guys did last year, yeah.
I don't know. I think that I'm blanking, totally having a brain whiff right now. Your head coach, Zimmer, Mike Zimmer.
I was going to say, you just said Zimmer.
No, I totally just blanked there for a second. Zimmer has owned McCarthy as a coach since he got in Minnesota. I mean, he started to show the holes in the armor, or the holes in the firepower that was the high-powered Packers offense of the early to mid 2010s.
Yeah.
You know, and he's what really shut down that team. He got Rodgers to, he shut down Rodgers. And I'm not counting when Anthony Barr hurt him. I mean, when he played the whole game and lost, he was able to just beat Rodgers, and
he can figuratively and literally take Rodgers out.
He did, and he learned how. So yeah, I think that Rodgers finally got that victory against him because he was finally able to get out from under McCarthy. So Zimmer will continue his dominance over McCarthy. Just don't let the talent win that game.
Hopefully,
because the talent can take over and win that game no matter who that coach is.
I cannot wait for this game. I am jittery about it. I'm so excited. But to be fully honest, my computer's literally about to die, so we'll finish up with the Monday night game really quick. We got the Giants heading to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. I have the Chiefs. Callan actually picked the Giants in this one.
I picked the Giants here because he's telling me about the Giants' defense. Because I was arguing how, I can't remember, whoever they played last week, or Darnold, how they hadn't played, he was doing bad because he was playing good defenses. I said, what are you talking about? They just played the Giants.
I said they were playing good defenses.
You said, and then I said, well, they just played the Giants, though. And then you were telling me about all the players on the Giants, which I didn't even know they had,
The Giants have a sneaky good defense.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, wow, okay, all right, I buy into that. Chiefs are a bad team against a good defense. Giants are going to win.
It's not too far-fetched. I could see it. I'm not I agree that the Chiefs have looked bad, but I don't think they're quite this bad yet. That
You're
they're
right,
gonna lose
because they're
to a
pretending to
Saquon-less.
be a bad team so they can get Bieniemy.
I don't think they're going to lose to a Saquon-less New York Giants. I just can't see it
if
happening.
you lose to them, that might get Reed fired now.
It very much could.
Especially with Reed coming out and saying, I'm seeing things we've never seen before.
We just
the
aren't
defense or your offense? Because shouldn't you have seen these things? Shouldn't you know what your offense is doing? Shouldn't you know see what the defense is doing?
Yeah, definitely a
that
poor
was a
choice of
really
words
weird thing to say.
Yeah. I could see this game being really close, but I think the Chiefs
Right.
ultimately pull off the win.
And that's what, like, the spread is 10 points on the books. And like you said, I mean, it could be close and the Chiefs would still win. I think that's what it'll be.
It might
I mean,
be.
I think the Giants, I hope the Giants win just because I think that'd be hilarious.
It might be good
for
to
this-
take the Giants if
for
you got
this-
the spread. Yeah.
for this continuous free fall of the Chiefs because God, I hated them when they were on that pedestal. It's so enjoying watching this fall because I experienced this fall as a Packers and an Aaron Rodgers fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had one bad year.
No,
that
two.
Was so sad.
Three.
Okay, yeah.
The 2 times he got hurt, and then actually, never mind. We made the playoffs the first year he got hurt.
Yeah, I know.
That's because the Bears.
Yeah,
The Bears let us in.
must be a real tough life.
So yeah, the
Packers
second
fan.
time he broke his collarbone, and then the last year under McCarthy were awful years. But yes, once the league starts to figure out, how to play and defend against a star quarterback like Mahomes, like Rodgers, and you have to kind of reinvent your game. It's a chess match. You keep having to top each other's move. And it seems like now it's Mahomes' turn to learn something new, and he's struggling to learn something new. I mean,
agree.
no
I can
touchdowns
see it,
last
yeah.
week? None?
It's looking rough for them. But that was our picks for NFL Week 8. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, don't forget
To eat the W. Oops.